the Awaken Your Ego podcast with Joanne and Ariana. We are a health podcast that explores topics to do with biohacking and self-discovery.
We are also on the self-discovery journey, and we want to attract listeners that are doing the same in order to help them realize they're not alone.
Ego differs from conventional medical spas and wellness centers. We believe that the secret to maximizing one's sense of self is in addressing the entire person, inside and out. We provide state-of-the-art aesthetic treatments as well as lifestyle management and holistic health solutions. We aim to please with our efficient and friendly customer service and guarantee with our scientifically proven alternative therapies and lifestyle optimizations that every patient will leave our care with a boosted ego. Our goal is to help our patients realize the necessity of self-care and to encourage them to prioritize their health and wellness goals. When we make self-care and confidence a priority, then we're able to bring to light our potential for happiness and growth. This podcast is a way to expand our reach so that we are able to spread the word on the importance of self, the whole self, inside and out.
This podcast is for educational purposes only. Please reach out to your medical provider if you have questions about any of the treatments we discuss to see if it's a right fit for you. Now on to our show.
Welcome to the Awaken Your Ego podcast. We're super excited to have Cheyenne here. She's one of our SDs over at Ego Beauty and Wellness. Mm-hmm. Welcome, Cheyenne.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
No, we're happy to have you. Let's get started with a few rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to answer as many as possible, just first thing that comes to mind within a minute.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready.
Let's go. What is your favorite drink?
Favorite drink would have to be probably water with lemon, and then if I'm going out, probably an extra dirty martini, if I'm being honest.
Love it. When are you most productive?
When am I most productive? Oh, gosh. When I'm cleaning, actually, I think. So probably every Saturday and Sunday.
Who is your inspiration?
My inspiration, I would say my mom. For sure.
And why?
She's just a strong woman, knows who she is, and she gets her stuff done. I don't know how else to put it.
I love it. Summer or winter?
Summer.
What's something new happening in your life?
This podcast.
What's your favorite number?
272.
How do you start your day?
I start my day
5 seconds
by
left.
turning on the shower and making a pot of coffee, drinking some chlorophyll water, and then I'm done.
That's perfect.
And by hitting snooze a million times.
You're like, if I'm being honest, I snooze it.
So Cheyenne, tell us about how you started in the esthetician world.
So I've been an esthetician now since 2018. I hadn't really thought of it on my own originally, but my sister, she always wanted to be one because she did struggle with acne for her teenage years, and I'd been working in childcare forever, and I was living in San Francisco at the time, and I was nannying, and the little girl I was working for, she ended up starting school part-time, and so I was left with a few more extra hours in my day, and I was like, what can I do? What else do I love? What can I push for? And so I decided to talk to my sister about starting esthetician school with me, and then that was it. The rest is history. And originally, I actually thought I was really into waxing. Mm-hmm. And then as I got more into it and started actually working in the industry, I realized that my love for actual skincare, skin quality, all of that was like my niche.
That's really cool.
So what do you love about skincare? What's your favorite part of that?
I think the overall experience of working in it is just creating that connection with patients. You know, you never know who you're going to connect with, you know, and someone can change my day and I can do the same for someone else. So I think it's just rewarding is my favorite part.
Yeah.
And extractions, of course. That's very fun too.
That's every SD's favorite part.
Yes.
What was that moment where you went from, oh, let me try this skincare thing out, I'm going to school, to where you literally flipped and you're like, no, I love this. I feel like I'm made to do this.
Oh, well, my first job, so I was working at a dermatology office in San Francisco, and I was there for maybe like 2 weeks, and I was so overwhelmed. It was so much, and I was like, I'm not cut out for this. What did I do? Like, there's so much to remember. And then I just stuck with it, and months went by, and I was like on it, and I knew everything, and I was like, Cheyenne, it just all of a sudden, I don't know how to explain it. It didn't come off as like salesy or like trying to convince people. It was something that I grew passionate about the more that I learned about it. Mm-hmm. And then it just became like a second nature.
So like went from overwhelming to like, no, I got this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a weird transition, but it's for me.
It just sounded like you needed some time to get comfortable.
Yeah.
And especially with it being new for you.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the biggest thing after working with children for so long, and then going into something that's sometimes intimidating, mm-hmm. but just giving myself the opportunity to be patient, take my time, and then...
What would you say to a new SD that's like just getting into it? Maybe they know they want to do it, but it's still a little overwhelming. Like, what would you tell like Cheyenne when she was first in school?
I would tell her, I don't know, buckle down and you'll make it, and if mm-hmm. you truly want to, and there's so many different things you can do when you become an esthetician. So I feel like just whatever kind of comes your way, and like figuring out like the little nooks and crannies of it. And I feel like just knowing it'll fall into your lap, and you'll figure it out as you go,
With that being said, what are the different things that an esthetician can do? Because maybe I'm not even aware of that.
So you can do waxing, whether it be just eyebrows or full on like Brazilians, underarms, legs, all of that. You can do lash extensions, which I did do a course for that. Not my thing. And then you can do, more traditional facials like spa industry. So like hotels, resorts, all of that. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like we have the more dermatology side to it, where you're learning the science behind the skin and truly focusing on like correction rather than just like relaxation. So, the world is, you can do so much with it. Yeah.
And I like how you're saying, like, just be willing to try things out, mm-hmm. and then you'll find what clicks most for you, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's key.
Mm-hmm. So in your own personal skincare routine, what would you say are your staples?
My staples are going to have to be, my favorite thing to do, and this is actually no product at all, is in the morning just wash with water, because it helps my skin stay a little bit more hydrated and protected throughout the day. And then like my 3 essentials I can't live without would be an antioxidant, sunscreen, and my retinol.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I love that. And what are things that you do in your routine on a regular basis that make you feel just confident?
I would say, of course, staying on top of my skincare routine, but making sure that I feel presented. So whether it be even just like tweezing my eyebrows at home for 15 minutes, or doing a full-on body scrub, or, doing my hair that day, or, trying out a new lipstick, as simple as that, I feel like can turn my day around and makes me feel more confident.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I know we've talked about this before, but I do feel like sometimes as people, but especially as women, we have certain things that we can fall back on. Mm-hmm. And like, I know when I wear these shoes, I feel confident. Or I know when I was just telling you guys earlier, like how my natural hair makes me feel insecure. Mm-hmm. And I think it's almost like a mental thing of like, oh, you didn't spend time fixing it, so it must be a mess, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, things that I like to do in the morning, like I like to, take care of my skin and wash it, serums, all of it. Do my hair, put makeup on, get dressed, and then I feel like ready to go for the day. Mm-hmm. And it makes me I can leave my door and feel like, okay, I'm put together. I don't got to worry about that part. Let me focus on what's ahead. But specifically my hair, for whatever reason, having that done really makes me feel, that and mascara, makes me feel like, okay, I could do whatever today, and I can be confident about it. I feel like, Joy, do you have anything like that what's your go-to?
I'm so basic hearing you guys. For me, it's like if I put concealer in my under eyes and chapstick for some reason, if my lips feel dry, I just feel like I'm crinkling like an old, I'm sorry to the lady, but old, and chapstick makes me feel like moisturize. Yeah.
I can relate to that. I relate to that. Yes. If I can tell the lipstick or chapstick lip gloss is running out, I'm like, I feel insecure and I'm like, people are looking at it.
Mhm.
And nobody probably even notices, but it's that simple little
I feel
thing.
like everyone
that-
looks at my lips.
Mhm.
Yeah. I guess I know they're dry. I don't have
Now I'm
chapstick.
going to be looking at your lips.
Well, and it's kind of those little insecurities that are built over time, whether it's scenarios growing up or your sibling teased you or someone pointed it out. I feel like that's interesting. Like I used to have super tiny lips, like really naturally I have very small lips. My sister has like gorgeous, like voluminous lips, and I was always jealous. And she has, I don't even know how to explain it. She has a little pocket of fat under her top lip that kind of pokes out. Like when she smiles, it shows up. And so I used to call her triple lip. I'm like, hey, what's up, triple lip? And it's because I was jealous, right? And so she started calling me chipmunk, like making this funny face and like I looked like a little rat. And it made me so insecure. And I didn't even realize how insecure it made me until I was older. And then I wanted lip filler. Like as soon as, Dr. Rhodes started injecting, I'm like, okay, please let me be your guinea pig. And from then I didn't stop. But it's only because I was insecure, projecting on my sister, making fun of what she had. And then she was in turn making fun of what I was already insecure about. So just like it compounded. And it's one of those things that like no one else would have said a dang thing, but to me it meant something. So I don't know. I don't know how you prevent that other than looking at yourself realistically and looking at the facts versus like what's fake. And, but I don't know that. It's just interesting to me how little comments and jabs can affect how we act as adults,
perceive ourselves
Yes.
too. Yeah, actually, that reminds me because my sister and probably a million other people have always made fun of my big ears, and now who's ever going to watch this on YouTube is probably going to be like, "Oh, dang, they are kind of big," but it's always something I've been super insecure about, and I never used to wear my hair up. I would always have my hair down, and as I've become like the woman that I recognize and I appreciate, and I feel stronger and more confident in myself for whatever reason. I have my hair back with my ears wide out. So
wide out.
so I don't know if I've grown into them or I feel more confident with who I am to where it doesn't bother me anymore.
Well, you know what's funny about ears? Sorry, I'll side note. My son, he was born with a huge head. Like literally doctors thought he had hydrocephaly. Like he had a huge head, and it's genetics wise. Like my family has really big heads. The men do, not me. But my neighbor, Jerry, shout out to Jerry, he was making fun of him. Hey, big head. He calls him big head all the time. And it's cute and funny, and he thinks it's a silly nickname. But then he started calling my daughter big ears. Or Dumbo, made a comment.
Dumbo, I've been called that one.
She has perfect ears. And I'm like, Jerry, don't you dare give my daughter a complex. Now she's going to think she has ugly ears, and she has the most perfect ears ever. But it's funny because I was way more sensitive to her being made fun of than my son. And I don't know why that is, but it was about the ear thing. And so it just makes you want to be kinder to people and not comment on physical appearance because you don't know what kind of buttons you're pressing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think, I don't know, because I was saying, I think guys are able to brush it off a little bit easier than girls. It could be different.
Or society perceives that they can.
But I think just because we're a little bit more emotional, I think that we take it to heart. And, like you said, we develop these complexes.
Yeah.
I think one thing that has helped me is getting reassurance from other people, which initially was bad because I felt like I always needed someone's reassurance, and that's probably why I was so self-conscious. But when it comes freely, when you don't ask it, or people just compliment you, or, hey, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, whatever. For me, it's just like, hey, someone sees it, whether this is real or not. I am beautiful. I appreciate myself. Just like you said, you reach this age where it's like, I have an appreciation for myself.
So why, as women, do you feel like we wrap so much around our physical appearance?
I kind of think that that's on point with what we were talking about. I think it comes through with everyone wanting to look a certain way and then feeling like, oh, well, she's got long legs, I should have long legs. And, so I feel like we focus on what someone else has instead of appreciating what we do have and then enhancing those features that maybe we do like I really like the color of my eyes. You know, I'm going to focus on that rather than my big ears. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I
to
love that response.
But
it's almost like quit looking around and seeing what you don't have and start being grateful for like what you already are blessed with.
Yeah, because somebody might be looking at me and being like, dang, you know, Cheyenne's got long arms and, you know, I wish mine were long. I mean, whatever body part or appearance it might be, someone else is always looking to see what they don't have instead of just looking in the mirror and being like, I love you, you know, which is something I like to do when I am feeling down. I will act like a crazy person and look in the mirror and tell myself, like, you got this, Cheyenne. You are strong. You are pretty.
Yeah.
I always do my mirror work if I'm feeling weird.
I love that.
I do. I really do.
That's huge advice. Because I've talked about this app before. I downloaded this app. It's called I Am.
Oh, I have that.
And it's cool. And it pops up every couple hours and gives you like a positive affirmation. And I feel like the power of that is huge. I didn't respect it at first. I was like, okay, whatever. It's going to send me nice messages. Like, what is this? And then I started to look forward to it. And it makes me want to open it every time it pops up on my screen. I'm like, what is it going to uplift me with? It's kind of powerful.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes in our aesthetic world, because we focus so much on skin and facials and Botox and filler, and I feel like sometimes there's some backlash that comes from women that don't quite get it. But how have you seen that improving someone's skin can change their overall confidence?
I think sometimes too, like when patients come in and they're feeling like they've done all they can and nothing's working, and you know, then we start maybe if it's just one peel, or they come in for just, you know, a little bit of Botox, nothing major, just knowing that they've done something for themselves, they leave feeling like a whole new person. So I think just knowing that they went out of their way to take care of themselves in a, you know, a little self-care, they leave with a whole new light. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like in some of our previous podcasts, we talked about the Diderot effect with Dr. Rhodes and how improving one thing or buying this one item will lead you to want to do more things in that same vein. So it's almost like, at least for me, it's like when I'm taking care of my skin and I know it's on point, it might motivate me to want to, maybe I'll buy some new clothes. It's like your confidence has this ripple effect, like if you let it grow within you. And I feel like that's so cool that we offer both aesthetic and wellness oriented things. It's like whether it's starting to feel better and doing IVs or getting your hormones in check, once you're feeling good, it might motivate you to want to start taking care of your skin. Or once you get your skin going and you're feeling awesome, it might motivate you to want to start taking care of what's going on inside. It's like, I feel like sometimes people look at it as being narcissistic or obsessed with yourself, when in reality, it's like, no, I'm embracing myself. I'm taking care of myself. I want to feel good about different aspects of me. But I think that's what's really cool about ego in general, is that you can start working on any part of yourself, really.
It's funny, I was actually just talking about that with my last patient, and I was telling her about how, like, I feel like our whole idea with ego, because people do have that idea in their head of like, oh, fillers, Botox, this, that, fake, you know, all of this, with what we're doing here, by having both options, it really allows someone to feel confident in every aspect of their life, whether it be just, you know, managing their health or trying to, you know, get rid of some sunspots on their face, whatever it might be. It's about embracing, like, finding your confidence within, not, you know, altering who you are, but just enhancing your natural features or, you know, just becoming the best version of yourself, I guess.
Well, I think it's like also, I love that. No, the perfect response, Cheyenne. And for me, it's like, can we all stop feeling guilty for liking ourselves? Like, can we stop feeling like it's a bad thing to have an ego? Like, I don't know. I guess I get sick of it.
Ego is defined as your feeling of sense of self-worth, right? So it's like, okay, so what makes me feel like I'm worth something, right? What makes me feel good? When I look good, right? When I feel good on the inside, right? So yeah, if that's my ego, why is that negative? If I want to strive for that, I want to strive for feeling good with how I look and how I feel, right?
No, for sure.
And one thing too, I feel like when, like on days when, I don't do my hair, I don't do my makeup, whatever it might be, and I'm feeling like down on myself, I feel like I feel like people are noticing it, and then I don't do as well. And so when I do those things to make myself feel better, I do better, and I connect better. I give people my all in a different way when I don't do that. I don't know how to explain that.
It takes your mental subconscious out of the way so that you can just be present.
Exactly.
And be receptive. I feel like that's a really good point where sometimes we get in our head and we're so obsessed with like me not doing my hair, doing my hair natural. It's like, I feel like old me would obsess with it and think about all the time, like, okay, who's looking at it? What's going on? And now I'm like, that doesn't define me. Like my hair this one day doesn't make everyone have a bad view of me every time they see me. And it seems like an absurd example, but
there is a thing called natural beauty.
Yeah. I've been looking at your hair all day, wishing my hair looked like it. So
Cheyenne, I was gonna say, you have flawless skin even when you don't have makeup on.
Thank you. I always feel
like you guys gotta come. You gotta come check it out.
Huge flex.
Thank you very much. And see, sometimes too, this is another thing. I do work hard on my skin, but people say that to me all the time, and I don't want it to come off cocky or that I have a high ego. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
well, to me, what it speaks to is like, dang, you must be super consistent.
Yes.
You're on it. You spend money on good product. It's like, and it's because I'm in the industry and I know what that looks like. It's not like you're blessed with this flawless skin. It's like, it's glowing because you're putting that effort into it.
It makes me want to ask you, what are you doing?
Oh, there
I want to do that too.
Well,
because you are a prime example of whatever you're doing, it's working.
Well, love that. That's a great way for me to get the conversation started to educate others, which is my favorite thing to do.
100%. And what are some things that you do in your regimen?
Well, I do exfoliate about 2 times a week on nights I'm not doing my retinol. I feel like I'm pretty gentle on my skin for the most part because I do have a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more on the sensitive side. I wouldn't say I have rosacea or anything, but I kind of play it safe. And to be honest, I don't really do treatments too much. So I'm doing all my stuff at home, trying to do extractions, whatever I can do. I mean, I've definitely bought some little mini shavers online to try to, take care of, unwanted hairs and whatnot. I feel like I'm getting off track.
Revealing it all. No, but that's
might
exfoliating.
Retry that one.
No, that's
okay.
honest.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I do have a little mini steamer I do at home. So I would say every 3 weeks, I'll pour myself a glass of wine on a Friday night, break out my steamer, do a good exfoliation, do a mask, do a full-on body scrub, shave my body, put some tanner on, and then I'm having a great weekend.
I love it.
It's really simple, so it seems like not much for me to explain. But and just maintenance, I think my skin has stayed where it's at and hopefully will not age because I've been using medical grade skincare since I was 21. So that makes such a big difference,
and for sure.
So for someone who's just starting out, someone who doesn't have a routine in place, what would you recommend for them as far as where to start?
To start, I would say if they're going to purchase anything medical grade, I would say get yourself a retinol because that is the one thing that's going to help with overall everything. It's going to turn back the clock for sun damage, fine lines, wrinkles. It's going to help with preventing breakouts, helping with acne. So essentially what it's doing is it's speeding up your cell turnover. And if you're using that, I promise you will not age.
No, that's a promise.
That's the secret one thing I would say is get retinol.
And I think that's something that retinol and sunscreen are 2 very important things I think most people overlook. And especially retinol. Even if they're doing a moisturizer and sunscreen, it's more likely than not.
Yeah, a lot of the time what I do hear is people who have had retinol, retin-A, tretinoin, whatever it might be, they're like, oh, I had that and it doesn't work for me. And I'm like, oh, well, how were you using it? Because I'm like, there's no way. And they're like, oh, no, I was putting it directly on my skin, every day. And I just broke out in a weird rash or I was peeling, I was red, I was raw. And I'm like, well, that right there is your mistake. Because I think pretty much everyone could probably use a retinol. So if you're using it correctly, putting it on after moisturizer, easing your way into using it every day, you're going to be fine. So I think making sure that, like, you can go to Sephora and buy whatever you want, but if you're not knowing how to use it in the correct way, something might happen to where you're going to be irritated and think you can't use it, or you're not going to get as much, benefit. So I think coming to someone who is educated in that, using scientific backed skincare is step one.
Well, what is the difference that you've seen between medical grade and store-bought, like skincare?
I would say long-term results. Because, we can get stuff, and I've done this before too, at Sephora or Ulta, getting stuff that feels good on the skin, but I haven't seen like true results from it. Now, as I've been using medical grade skincare for the last, 7 years of my life, my skin quality feels healthy. It feels radiant. I don't even know how to explain it, but it feels like it's taken care of. Where other stuff can just feel nice in the moment. But my goal is to not age. Yeah. So I'm going to make sure I'm doing stuff that will actually stop the clock, if that makes sense.
I like that. And I feel like in medical grade, it's usually high quality ingredients, not a lot of extra fillers or things that dry you out. I feel like there's active ingredients.
The delivery system is faster.
The delivery system. It's like, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's all the same. And it's like, no. There is a huge difference between one, regulated medical grade skincare and just stuff that with a random label that looks pretty on the shelf,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you are currently working on?
I've been trying to get back on my physical health, because that's something which it's weird, because maybe this does actually kind of go into play of finding that confidence, but also finding your confidence to get back into something or start something new. I used to always work out. I was meal prepping. I was in really good shape. I've done it twice now, where I get into it and then I fall off. And so right now I'm in the midst of fighting with myself of Cheyenne, you can do it. Cheyenne, I'm being lazy. So it's I'm trying to get myself into that, and I know that I'll have that confidence back once I do. But it's weird trying to push yourself into something you want to do. But
it's almost like fighting that, that changing it from feeling like it's forced to feeling like, oh, I'm craving it. This is easy. It's like going through, especially physically, going through that sore period and then getting to the period where you actually feel better and have more energy. What do you do? What do you do personally? I know we all have our different methods, but do you have something do you put reminders? Do you just force it? Do you talk yourself in the mirror? What is your...
I talk myself in the mirror for everything that I need to encourage myself for, but I guess to get myself back in that get on my grind, I guess, I just need to do it. Yeah. And so I'm trying to figure out what's going to work best for me, morning or night. Because I used to always be a nighttime. I'd get home from work and I'd go for a run, or I'd go to the gym, or I'd do yoga in my living room, And especially through COVID, which is what got me to not want to work out in the gym anymore, which I've been doing a little bit of both now, but I got so confident and I craved going on a run. I feel like it was just this mental freedom that it gave me, and the confidence I felt when I was doing it made me want to do it, and it wasn't about how I looked almost, it was, and now knowing I'm I want to feel like that again, you know?
So one thing that I tell my patients when they talk about that, oh, I used to do this, I know how to do it. I always remind them, you have it in you. You've done it before. The thing is, sometimes we try to apply old formulas to get that result. And you have to remind yourself, you're in a different time now. Just like you said, you have maybe work rather than before you had that free time to get the work in midday, whatever the case. But start somewhere, right? You don't have to just jump back into that. Start somewhere. Like you said, you've been craving run, walk, jog, and then push yourself with that. And then that ditto effect, then meal prep, right? And then get in the gym, whatever the case. But it's just, it's in you.
Yeah.
It's just modify that formula, adjust it to the current situation that you're in, and give yourself a realistic goal.
Yeah.
I love that. And
I do too.
keeping
Joanne,
in
we're gonna
mind.
have a meeting later.
We need a consult right now. And for me, it's almost like, for myself, it's like I can't create short-lasting goals and expect myself to stick with it, right? Like, oh, if I get to this weight, or for me, it has to be this overarching goal of like, I want to feel better, you know, or whatever that is for you. It's like, and it sounds like you're kind of there as well. And it's like, if I keep that in mind and focus on that feeling I'm trying to attain, then it keeps me driving to get there. And the only reason I don't get there will be because of me, right?
Yeah.
So for sure, I like that. That's great advice. Just start somewhere.
No, exactly. And I'm going to. I swear.
I'm going to push you now.
No, I totally believe you. All right. I feel like I wanted to ask you a little bit more, and I know you're probably sick of the skincare questions.
No,
but
I love it.
For teenagers struggling with acneic skin, or what are some things that they can implement, or maybe things that they might be doing wrong? Because I feel like what I've seen with some patients is like some kids are just drying their face out too much.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So what are you?
I think when people are struggling, or especially teens, where they're not quite sure and they're getting like clean and clear, I think is that what it is?
Yeah. Or proactive.
That kind of stuff. And it's really harsh on the skin, and they're scrubbing like apricot scrubs, or, just drying out their skin with, different, just all acne stuff. And you don't really need all acne stuff to take care of one issue. And I think being too aggressive on the skin is going to make it angry, and then it's going to flare up, and then it might spread because you're scrubbing and breaking things open. So I think taking a gentle approach and using like a gentle cleanser morning and night. So someone who's, more acneic is going to have more oily skin for the most part. So just a gentle cleanser, exfoliating, 3 to 4 times a week. So more than I would, because I'm a little bit more sensitive. And it's never too early to start a retinol. I don't care if you're 12 to 81, you can start a retinol. So I think keeping it simple, like you don't need, a bajillion things to take care of it.
How much does it cost to get a consult with you?
$100.
So as a parent, even, it's like I would totally spend $100 to get my kid prepped, so I could stop wasting all my money on random products I'm picking up at the store to try, right? So I feel like a lot of people think medical grade, or, your medical office, like it has to be so outrageous and expensive. When in reality, if you have a good regimen from the get, you're going to end up saving a lot of money and headache.
Exactly. Even if it is just for that one consult, they don't have to have treatment, just to get that education to know, okay, what should I be doing at home? How can I take care of this on my own, but with someone's help? So I think just simple is key, to be honest. I think the not the more the merrier. Oh, that's fun though. I do love having a bunch of skincare, but I think when you're trying to target an issue, whether it be rosacea, pigmentation, or acne, focusing on like 4 key things and keeping it simple is best.
Yeah, I love that. And then I feel like the same thing kind of applies for anti-aging, but besides retinol, are there any things that you feel like women can do for aging skin or sagging skin? I feel like we have a lot of patients that come in and they're like, I don't know what to do about this. I just feel dull and ugly, and like complaints about their skin, when in reality, I'm like, hey, let's try microneedling. Let's try some laser. Let's try some serums. And I feel like there's so many resources out there. Sometimes we get down on ourselves and we give up. I forget it. I guess this is how it is forever.
I would say doing microneedling with the peel on top. So
That's
our
my
favorite to do, microneedling with hyaluronic acid with a glow and go on top. And then also introducing a growth factor to them too, because I think a lot of people don't know what that is, or they've never heard of it before. And growth factor essentially is going to make your skin think it's younger, right? It's going to help. You could see tightening within 2 weeks from that. So I think even though it's an investment, if you want to see changes, you have to invest in it. So I think come on in for a consultation and, just seeing what's out there. And then that's another thing too. People get worried about their budget. And I always, what do you have at home? Use that, and let's just throw in those key things that you're missing or something that needs to be medical grade, where if you want to use, your moisturizer that you've gotten at Sephora, if it's, fitting in your budget, use that, but let's see what we can fit in. And then even coming in for Glow on the Go on its own, only $50. I always tell patients, I'm like, if you can at least do that.
And how long does it take?
15 minutes.
See, everyone
maybe
can find
less.
15 minutes.
Yeah. And you will see a difference after one. I had a patient last week and she came into me for a second one. She was struggling with some adult acne and she was like, Cheyenne, I was so excited to come back in here because all my friends have been telling me, what did you do? When are you going back after just one?
That's
and
awesome.
she said she's been in the past very insecure, and ever since her Glow on the Go, she hasn't wanted to wear makeup. And I'm like, that is what I live for.
Oh, that's awesome. Like, that's such a good thing to hear. And honestly, you guys, like, I love getting a Glow on the Go, especially after microneedling. But even on its own, you're literally glowing. Like, your skin looks fantastic, and that's why we call it that. It's quick, and you're guaranteed to leave with a glow. So,
and it's effective, preventative. I mean, all in one. It can't get any better than that.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Cheyenne, for coming on.
Yes, we enjoyed having you.
No, we appreciate it.
Good. I had fun.
How can our patients find you?
So you can find me at Ego Beauty and Wellness, and on our Instagram, give me a call and we can get you scheduled for a consultation. I do our esthetician services on Mondays from 9 to 5, and then I'll be at our Lodi office on Thursdays from, I believe, 10 to 4 as of now. And then I do 2 Saturdays a month, one Modesto, one Lodi.
Awesome.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Awaken Your Ego, a podcast that explores biohacking and self-discovery. We hope you follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date on what we're working on in your area.